Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is June the 9th, 2017. This is home of long-term cryptocurrency thinking. Golden hold, pound that like button. All right, so the news of this week, even though the event isn't happening until August the 1st, user-activated soft fork, BIP 148. You kept hearing about it. You kept reading about it. We have John Light here, who wrote one of the best articles about it, things that you can do to help make it a reality, to help make BIP 148 a reality. We've got him, and we're going to jump into with him in 1 second. But we've also got Bitcoin, the Bitcoin channel, and we got Maximo down in Venezuela, who's going to tell us about what's going on down there. All three of you guys, feel free to ask each other questions and everything. Go back and forth. It'll be a great talk. So, John, you're legendary, man. You're awesome with that article that's linked to below, by the way. Tell us the latest news in user-activated soft fork and BIP 148. You published a new article today, actually, too. That was great.
That's right, I did. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me on the show here. So the latest is, with regards to the user-activated soft fork, is support continues to grow in terms of hash power as well as economic power. So most recently, I saw an announcement from Ledger that they're actually going to allow users to configure whether they want to connect to a node that enforces BIP 148, so that they won't receive any transactions that were included in blocks that do not conform to BIP 148, but were not confirmed in BIP 148 blocks. So this is an important that they are giving their users to enforce BIP 148, and we're going to continue seeing this kind of support building from wallets and other economic nodes, exchanges and brokers, traders, people who process Bitcoin for fiat and other forms of value using their own full nodes. And the blog post that I wrote last week that you mentioned basically contains a set of templates that people can use to fill in the blanks for any of the economic nodes that they do business with, essentially requesting that, hey, I support SegWit, and as your customer, I would like you to also support the activation of SegWit via the BIP 148 user-activated soft fork. And there's kind of an element of boycott in there as well, where if these companies are not actually responding to the demands of their customers and implementing this very important software update, then the customer, of course, has and is saying that they will exercise the right to switch business and do business with other economic nodes that are supportive and enforcing the BIP 148 user-activated soft fork. So the templates are for people to contact the exchanges that they do business with, the Bitcoin brokers and OTC traders they do business with, the wallet developers for the wallet software they use if they're not using their own full node to process their transactions, as well as for miners to contact their mining pools and request that they support enforcing a BIP activation of SegWit via BIP 148. Slush has already implemented an option where miners can basically mine BIP 148 blocks, and basically any pool right now that is supporting SegWit should really be enforcing BIP 148, so that August 1st becomes a non-event and we have SegWit with no drama.
That is the ultimate goal, and I really do appreciate the templates that you provided. This seems to be the people out there, people watching this. What we have to do, it's a marketing effort to gain some leverage, to put some pressure on the miners. It seems that that's the best thing we can do, is just get the word out there. Do you agree with that, or?
Well, so I posted another blog post today, and the thesis of this blog post is that there's actually, I really don't think that there's actually a whole lot of pressure that needs to be placed here. The purpose of BIP 148, as opposed to any other activation method, is simply that we have a day when SegWit becomes activated, and we can ensure that any blocks that are built that do not conform to BIP 148 and do not enforce BIP 148 are rejected by the network. So it's basically the economic majority and a majority of hashing power saying, you know, we are not going to recognize any blocks that do not implement SegWit, because SegWit is seen as a beneficial upgrade to the network. Most importantly, over 80% of the hash power has already agreed to activating SegWit, and over 50 different major exchanges and wallet providers and Bitcoin developers have similarly agreed to activating SegWit. And so the thesis of my blog post again today is that we already have a large majority of support from all of the stakeholders that we need to activate SegWit, and now it's just a matter of putting words into action as soon as possible so that we can get this very important transaction malleability fix, solve the quadratic scaling problem, and of course get a nice average 60 to 70% increase in on-chain transaction capacity, so that we can onboard new users and new use cases to the Bitcoin network. The support is already there. It's just a matter of getting these nodes, the exchanges, the wallets, the infrastructure providers, and the miners to upgrade their software to enforce BIP 148. I acknowledge in the post today that this is happening all within the context of another separate effort called SegWit 2x, which is an effort to implement SegWit simultaneously with a flag day for a hard fork 6 months later. And my position is that activating SegWit via BIP 148 is not inconsistent with this proposal, and that it is actually the fastest way to get SegWit, because right now what the SegWit 2x team is doing is they're actually re-implementing SegWit. And so this means that they have to write new code. It means that they need to deploy new software to miners and economic nodes. They need to do several rounds of testing to ensure that everything works correctly and that there are no critical bugs. When really we don't need to do all of that. We have SegWit code that works in production today. We have a flag day set for August 1st. And so if you are really genuine in your support of SegWit, as stated in the previous agreements and in all of the people who have signaled readiness on the bitcoincore.org website, if you are genuine in your support of SegWit, you will update your software to enforce BIP 148, user-activated soft fork, and then you can focus on making sure that the hard fork portion of the SegWit 2x agreement is done in as safe and secure a manner as possible. The SegWit part is already taken care of. Bitcoin Core has done all of the heavy lifting for putting out the software to activate SegWit. So let's activate it, BIP 148 UASF, and then free up the SegWit 2x developer resources to focus on doing the hard fork correctly, if that's really what they want to do. So that's really my position and where things stand today.
Now, first of all, again, everyone's got to check out the links below to read John's latest article and his previous article too. Pound that like button, people, if you're enjoying this show, because I sure am. I want to say that your article today conveyed the feeling that you're very confident that we're not going to have a split, that we're not going to end up with 2 Bitcoin. Am I gauging that correctly, that you are just sure we're going to end up with 1 Bitcoin still, and that getting 2 Bitcoin would be pretty bad.
Yeah, yes to both of those points. The title of the post itself is why the chain will not split. And again, it's based on the thesis that there's already overwhelming support for activating SegWit. And given that that's exactly what BIP148 does, there is no good reason whatsoever for August 1st to be anything but yet another day in Bitcoin where there's all this crazy drama happening out in the real world, but the blockchain is as immutable and strong and secure as ever. And of course, if the people who have voiced support for SegWit were being disingenuous in their claims and they do not actually support SegWit and they do not help with the BIP148 activation effort, then there is a possibility of a chain split. But based on all of the public comments to date, there's no reason why this should actually happen. If the people who have voiced support for SegWit actually put their words into action and do what it is necessary to activate SegWit before August 1st, then BIP148 activation is going to be a complete non-event.
All right. I like the confidence. It makes everyone feel a lot better out there. I will say this. People did start worrying this week. Obviously, there's uncertainty, and I think you're clearing up this uncertainty. But my final question for you, and we're going to get to the other guys, and this is a really important question, actually. In theory, there could be some turbulence on August the 1st, after August the 1st. There could be. Does that mean the Bitcoin that people own now, if we do encounter some wicked turbulence, people are going to be stocking up on this pre-August 1st Bitcoin? I feel like you are a calming voice, but there are going to be so many not so calming voices out there spreading all sorts of FUD. And it's going to make people think like, I want this Bitcoin just in case XYZ happens. And because this Bitcoin before August 1st, it won't be a split Bitcoin. It won't be a Bitcoin that can disappear. It'll just be, if you've got the private key of a Bitcoin before August 1st, you're in great shape no matter what happens. Do you see a price run up of incredible proportions before this event because of this, that people want to get their hands on this pre-August 1st Bitcoin?
It could go both ways. You could also have a lot of people that panic and sell and just say, I want no part of this. And so I can't pretend to be able to predict with a crystal ball with any sort of real certainty what the psychology of the irrational markets are going to do out there. What I will say is that it's important to acknowledge the failure modes for UASF. And one thing that I mentioned in my blog post today that perhaps I didn't call out explicitly last week because it was listed as something in one of the resources that I linked to in the blog post, but I explicitly called it out today. Look, people, even if you support the user activated soft fork, if the economic majority is not behind it and the hash power majority is not behind it, you should not be running that code on August 1st. You are going to have a bad time. And so in the days and weeks leading up to August 1st, absolutely you should run it, and you should do everything that you can to encourage all of these other nodes that you do business with and that have already expressed support for SegWit to also run this code, since so many people have already come out in support of activating SegWit. But if that support does not actually convert into real enforcement of SegWit and real nodes running this code on August 1st, then you should not do anything that would put your Bitcoins or anybody else's Bitcoins into danger. And you should not be running this code after August 1st, again, if neither the economic majority nor the hash power majority is running this code. If people do what is economically rational, which is to not put their funds at risk by doing that, then there will be no chain split and there will be no chance of anybody losing money. At least innocent people who have no idea what's going on. They're just going to stay on the longest valid chain, and basically whoever chooses to fork off, it's kind of their own money at risk, and that's their own prerogative. But yeah, I would say I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen in terms of the price movement, but I feel extremely confident that one of two things is going to happen. One, it's going to be a complete non-event, because everybody who has said that they are supportive of activating SegWit will act on the code to activate SegWit, and we'll have SegWit live on Bitcoin before August 1st. Or neither the economic majority nor the hash power majority is going to be supporting the 148 UASF, and so it's going to be stuck as a minority chain forever, which will basically not exist according to the old nodes, since they only follow the most difficult valid chain. And the confirmation times on the minority chain are going to make that blockchain more or less unusable, and it's going to die a very quick death, and the rest of the network will really have no idea what's happening, because that's the way Bitcoin consensus works. I do not think we're going to get into a scenario where it's like Ethereum Classic and Ethereum on day 2 of the hard fork, where there's all this crazy, basically hash power war going back and forth and replay attacks and all of this insanity. I think it's going to be a non-event whether it succeeds or not. It's just because that's the way the incentives are designed in the system.
All right, this excellent summary of everything here. Bitcoin, I know you. Does this make you feel better, what you just heard? Have you been getting a lot of questions from the wild world out there? And what do you see in terms of price leading up to the event? And do you have any questions for John?
Actually, I'm about to read out John's article. But the thing is, I get a lot of people, especially now, asking about Bit 148. And, a lot of people are nervous whether they should sell into altcoins, Ethereum, Dash, or whatnot. My best suggestion is just to hold on to it. This is just FUD. This is the maximum FUD that is just going to blow over. I believe it's just going to be one coin, but there is a possibility. There might be a very small possibility. It might be 2 coins. If it does happen that way, and you got to look at it in this perspective. You might end up with 2 coins, and just how Ethereum Core and Ethereum Classic, if you could choose to sell one, and a lot of people aren't really looking at it in that aspect. And so I try to encourage people just to hold on to it and think long term. Don't think so short term, because there is going to be a lot of this stuff happening. Bitcoin is very young, so there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. But as far as the price, oh man, this is very hard to tell. I mean, I do feel it's going to be a huge run up towards August 1st. But after that, I do feel there might be a little bit of panic, and a lot of people might try to sell a little bit. But after that, I definitely feel it's going to the moon. Price range wise, I could say maybe, I don't know, I'm a rough guesstimate around 5,000. Usually I'm right, Adam, so I don't know. We're gonna have to see on that one.
Well, I just want to get through August 1st, and then if we have magical numbers like that, that would be quite a reward for those of us who are dealing with this drama currently and are getting asked about something that's going to happen on August 1st. Every day we're getting asked about it. Maximo, what's going on in Venezuela? First of all, Maximo, do you have any questions for John? What's down in Venezuela? You've got a lot to deal with besides Bitcoin, obviously, and I want you to obviously talk about the Bitcoin situation down there and the government and just the situation down in Venezuela. But in terms of user-activated soft fork and everything, do people even speak about it down there, or what are your thoughts? And did John just calm you down at all?
Oh, well, of course, man. But I'm not that worried, really. People here in Venezuela, the way that people get into Bitcoin cryptocurrency in Venezuela, 90% of the people that are into it get through mining. So these people really don't know much about what's going on with this scaling debate. What I can tell you is that I have a lot of clients that they are mining Bitcoin right now. They have Antminers and Avalons, and I have talked to them and told them what Bitcoin is going through, and they all agree, all of them, to start supporting user-activated soft forks in the 1st of July. So I'm going to change to a slush pool and start mining user-activated soft fork with all the miners that I kind of control, you know. But the people do not know really what's going on with the user-activated soft fork and SegWit plus 2 megabyte hard fork. They really don't know about that.
Well, yeah. That's similar to like some of the people up here in the United States who just buy Bitcoin to hold as like a gold type instrument. They can care less about the technical stuff. They have no idea this is about to happen, which is, it would be great if it just turns out to be what John said, that it's just an uneventful August 1st and they'll never know it even happened. So that's cool. Sorry to interrupt you. Continue with what's going on.
No, don't worry. I have a couple of questions for John, but I'm going to save it for later on the show. About Venezuela. Well, man, we are really struggling right now. We are in kind of a civil war. A war because in a war, mostly both sides can defend themselves. Here in Venezuela, there is just one side with guns, which is the government. We don't have guns. We don't have nothing, man. We just go to the streets to try to make a change, make our country better. That's everything we can do. And right now, things are really bad in here. But I can tell you, Adam, that Bitcoin is like heaven from Venezuelans. Really, there is literally people using Bitcoin here in Venezuela to survive. Literally, because they use it to buy food, to buy water, to pay for their children's schools, for the basic needs. So Bitcoin, it's heaven for the Venezuelan people. Because we have capital controls and exchange controls, so we cannot get like US dollars legally. You have to go to the black market. And there is some good news because the last week an Bitcoin exchange just opened it, and there is a better way, an easier way for us Venezuelans to buy Bitcoin right now, because the only way that we could do it was through local Bitcoins. Really friendly page is kind of hard to use for people that do not understand cryptocurrencies at all. So with this new exchange, I actually know the owner, and the roadmap is to help the Bitcoin community grow here in Venezuela. And I can tell you, it's growing, man, incredibly fast. My main job is to provide mining equipment to the people. And I can't keep up with the demand, really. And thinking of moving to a warehouse, because I have my house full of, there are boxes everywhere. My mom wants to kill me. And really the demand is crazy. It's crazy. And people always trying to get into Bitcoin cryptocurrencies. But the bad thing is that there is a lot of camps here in Venezuela, a lot. OneCoin is like, there's a lot lot of people getting into OneCoin, really.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
That's save terrible, them, man. Save them.
Save, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what you're saying. You're trying to build up the community to inform them what's real.
That's why I'm doing free consulting services for the people who want to know about cryptocurrencies. I'm not charging them if you are from Venezuela. I'm doing it for free, an hour for free,
Maximo,
to help the community grow.
Are there are there any like newsletters or any other sort of reliable sources of Spanish language information for Venezuelans?
There is one. It's called in Spanish like Crypto Noticias, which is a newspaper. But all they do is they copy and paste whatever goes into CoinDesk or the Cointelegraph. So there is not a reliable source. I'm working on it with a couple of guys. I'm actually going to make an announcement, Adam, if you allow me to, at the end of the show, about the Bitcoin channel in Spanish.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
I got a question. So is it kind of dangerous to even have an exchange or something down there? Because the government obviously is frowned upon it, or even do some type of peer-to-peer. Wouldn't it be kind of risky? Or
well, if you're doing it into the right way, maybe not. Of course, there is always a risk because we're under a dictatorship and communism. So obviously, the government do not want a way to people to avoid hyperinflation so they can control them. They don't want a way so that the money can leave the country and the people to have financial freedom, which they can do it with Bitcoin. There's always the possibility of, but I think that those guys, the guy who is the founder of the exchange, he's doing a pretty awesome job. He's talking to authorities and he's going step by step.
So the exchange is basically, it's approved of, but I mean, it's not frowned upon. He's done A, B, and C. It's there, and it's gonna be there. So it's very good job with that, because I think a lot of people are wondering, like, well, how did all of a sudden pop up like this? But there was hard work and planning behind it. So you're definitely on the right track. Which I want to point out, when we did the all Spanish show that you were on, and that was great. Yeah. That the country that had the highest viewers, the Spanish-speaking country with the highest viewers, most viewers, was Venezuela. It beat out Mexico. There were more people from Venezuela watching that show than from Mexico, and it just says a lot about the popularity of Bitcoin in Venezuela and the importance of Bitcoin in Venezuela. So I mean, like, on the ground updates like this are just amazing, amazing. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the current situation there? Any other news?
I want to explain something that for you to understand what's the current situation about Bitcoin here in Venezuela. Most people from like the US, Europe, or first world countries, they get into Bitcoin because they find the technology exciting, because what Bitcoin can be in the future, right? Here in Venezuela is different. Here in Venezuela, it's not like that. Here in Venezuela, people get into Bitcoin because it's a solution for all our financial problems. For hyperinflation, you really don't know, Adam, how hard it is for the average people to keep up with the hyperinflation. It's literally impossible. People is losing everything. I know families that have to sell their cars or leave the country because they cannot afford to live in Venezuela because of the hyperinflation. And Bitcoin solved that. Bitcoin gave the people the opportunity to be to have a financial freedom, to do not care about what the government does. In the beginning of the year, the governments take out of circulation the higher bill denomination. It's like the US government take out of circulation the 100 US dollar bill. So it was crazy in here. And you know what? I didn't care. For me, okay, yeah, do it. I don't care. I don't hold Bolivares. I hold Bitcoin. I don't depend on you. And that's priceless, man. Really, that's why I get into Bitcoin, because it solves all our problems and give us freedom. Really, Bitcoin is the best thing that could happen for a country like Venezuela, really.
It's awesome that it's already a necessity there. It's already, this is not about the future. This is about the present. So John or Bitcoin, do you guys have any questions for Maximo about anything that he said there?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
So I have two questions. The first question is really quick. Maximo, what was the name of that exchange?
Monkey Coin.
Monkey Coin.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And how do people acquire Bitcoin today? You mentioned local Bitcoins, but how does that actually work? Like, how do the Bitcoins get into the country? And then, what does a typical exchange look like when people are going to acquire Bitcoin?
Mostly Bitcoin get into the country through mining. I don't know if you know, but the electricity here in Venezuela you can say it's free. You can have a miner that, for example, a miner S9 that can make you $400 per month, and you pay for that miner like $1 per month. So most of the people are mining here in Venezuela and going to people who want to buy it in bolivars in local Bitcoin. And it's actually you have to buy it really, really expensive, because you are paying the premium that the guy have 1,000 transactions and 5-star of it's safe. You are doing the transaction with someone who have a good qualified in the site. So that was the only way, through local Bitcoins or the streets. Maybe if you know someone that have a miner, you can tell him, hey, do you want to sell your Bitcoins? Yeah, okay, well, here I transfer the money to your bank and you give me the Bitcoins.
Okay, that's very informative. Thank you. And I guess a follow-up question would be, if Venezuelans had a choice between holding Bitcoin or holding dollars, which do you think that they would prefer?
Bitcoins. I'm gonna explain you why. You can, I actually know some people that have accounts in the United States, because they went to there and they opened an account, but that's like 2% of the population here in Venezuela. The other 98% do not have an account in another country. So they can just hold bolivars in banks. So if they want to acquire US dollars, they have to buy it in cash on the streets. And it's really common that the people sell you fake dollars. So you end up losing your money. So Bitcoin is a solution for that, because no one can sell you a fake Bitcoin, It's literally impossible. So I have to say that they will rather buy Bitcoins.
All right, I got a question, and I know it's pretty far-fetched, but so people aren't really using precious metals as far as like gold and silver down there. They'd rather prefer Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
I just believe that argument to rest, because a lot of people say when something like a scenario like in Venezuela, gold and silver would be mostly used and Bitcoin wouldn't. So I kind of want to leave that argument to rest, but I just want to put it out there.
No, and there is a reason why is that, here in Venezuela, we have a huge mining process in the something that is called the Amazonas. There is plenty of gold in there, but the government controls it. So they just keep it to themselves, and there is hard to find gold here in the streets, cheap gold. So it's better to buy Bitcoin, really.
This is just illuminating to get. I mean, because people, you read these articles about Venezuela, they're not even written by people who are in Venezuela.
I know.
To hear what's really going on there, you're really just giving a perspective that so many people have really never heard before, and it's just so unique. And I'm so proud to have guests like you on here who just I mean, these shows, pound that like button, people. Pound that like button if you love this stuff. Now, we're going to get back to you, Maximo, because at the end you're going to have an announcement to make about the show. But let's move on to Bitcoin here. And Bitcoin, you want to just talk about what you've been experiencing in terms of the influx of newbies, and that the exchanges are flooded with newbies, and people are doing some irrational things out there.
Yeah, lately, I mean, you and I have been around for a while, but lately I've been noticing a lot of these exchanges kind of shutting down. Well, not shutting down, but a lag, because new people are just joining. I feel a lot of people don't really understand what they're buying. They just kind of buy into anything, and that's mostly what I'm trying to get at. Like Poloniex right now, I had to actually shut down the troll box, and that's the #1 feature that everyone loved. Mainly because they had so many people with request tickets that they actually had to focus most of their attention to that now. That's actually a good thing though, because that just shows that a lot of people are interested in cryptocurrency more than ever. More than 3-4 years ago, there was hardly anybody really talking about it. And now I'm starting to see a lot more people interested. It's good to hear that in Venezuela, people are really interested in it, because you get a lot of people saying that if the economy collapses, no one's going to use Bitcoin. They'll just go to gold and silver. So hearing this from you kind of lays that to rest. And I get to hear from someone who's actually experiencing what's going on down there. Yeah, but there is a lot of people down in the crypto space now, a lot of new people that just don't understand what they're buying. And I do see that's why a lot of these altcoins are pumping out, especially now that a certain person put a lot of FUD out there saying that Bitcoin needs to scale as soon as possible. And ever since that day, I noticed a lot of these altcoins started to go up in price. And I do feel once this gets situated, all that money will flow back into Bitcoin, because this is what people want. They wanted faster speeds. They wanted lower transactions. So I feel a lot of people are just kind of nervous and just unsure where what's gonna happen in the next few months. I do feel as soon as this happens, all the money will be poured right back in. So I don't know. It's a gamble if you guys, are new. You want to put your money into altcoins. That is completely on to you. So yeah.
There's a lot of weird videos out there from Johnny come lately gurus saying to buy every third and fourth rate altcoin out there. Buy yourself Steam. If you say it in a British accent and loud enough, I guess you're legitimate or something. Apparently, I don't know. Don't buy Steam. You can hang out at Steam and earn your Steam. We had a video about this yesterday. I'm not going to get into that.
You see, anyway, but what you said, Adam, you kind of talked before, not to interrupt you, but right now, Steam, for a lot of new people, Steam is $2 and something cents, I believe. But not that long ago, it was 5 cents. So a lot of people are buying into it, not really aware of what happened in the past and what could happen later on. And I'm not trying to knock Steam. Steam is a really good platform. But I just want people to be aware of what they're buying, do their history, do their homework before they just dump money into it.
Well, I've got actually for John, you had a tweet out there talking about how there are people out there who are just buying some altcoins because they don't think they can afford Bitcoin because they see the Bitcoin price is listed as $2,800. And you suggested that, and other people have suggested this before, and I always kind of didn't think much about it, but you made a good point. If people are scared to buy Bitcoin because it's too expensive, but would they be more likely to buy it if it was listed in bits? And you said that some of these exchanges should just start listing it in bits, and then people will be more likely to not make silly altcoin decisions just based on, I can't afford Bitcoin. That saying will be tossed out the window. Yeah,
the idea here, actually, I sent that tweet after I got out of a taxi with another person who I was sharing a ride with, and we were just kind of talking back and forth about Bitcoin, and he had asked me, like, is it a good time to buy this altcoin because it's so much cheaper than Bitcoin? And I said, that's not really the whole story, because they look at the price of this altcoin and they're like, well, Bitcoin is 2,800, maybe this altcoin could go to 2,800 too. And I mean, in theory, maybe it could, but like, you're really comparing apples to oranges, because if that altcoin has a total supply of like, 10 billion coins or something like that, then the odds of it going to $2,800 a coin are, probably very small, or at least it's an extremely tall hill to climb to get there. Whereas Bitcoin, it's 21 million coins, and it's 8 years old now. So it's really a completely different kind of a comparison. And so, yeah, there are psychological factors at play here now that we are starting to deal with people who are thinking of these investments not in terms of technology, but just simply in terms of price. That maybe Bitcoin would look more appealing to them, being both the market leader and cheap. If we were to convert the units that are on the exchanges and in people's wallets over into bits. All of my wallets are denominated into bits and have been since pretty much all of the wallets first started implementing it. I think it's a cool word. Bits sounds a lot more futuristic than like Satoshis or, I don't know, millibits or something. I mean, there have been different sub-denominations that have been tried, and none of them have really caught on. But bits is a cool name, and it's easy to remember. It's 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin. So, for me, it's just it would be an interesting experiment, really, to try it for even just a few months, to see whether the transaction volume of Bitcoin would increase, or the exchange volumes on the exchanges would increase if you just switch the denomination to bits. I think it would be an interesting experiment.
I think it's a worthwhile marketing gimmick to try out. Bitcoin doesn't have enough friendly marketing like that. I think you make a good point, and we're living in this new era with all these new people. They don't know the difference between apples and oranges here at all. It isn't apples and oranges to them at all. There's a lot of misconceptions being spread out there, and maybe this could help bring a few people back to reality, but who knows? Let's go to Maximo. Let's hear your big announcement you wanted to say.
Well, first I have a couple of questions to John. They are a bit silly, but first one: are you able to run in the bit seed the bit 148 code? Because I saw Vinny from BTC Sessions did the other day about the bit seed, and I didn't see the option of you running the bit 148 node, and I want to acquire a bit seed, so that's why I'm asking. I know you are part of bit seed, so
yeah, absolutely. So our official policy as a project is to only support official Bitcoin Core releases. Okay. And so we are not going to be directly supporting BIP 148 UASF in selling, say, for example, selling nodes that come pre-installed with that software, or we're not able to devote support resources to helping people with this, since it's non-standard software and it hasn't been tested to the same rigor that Bitcoin Core software has been. But the node itself, it's an open source Linux small personal server, and so you will be able to download the UASF binaries that run on either like Ubuntu or preferably one that's built for ARM, the ARM platform, and install that on your bitseed. Configure it yourself if you have the technical know-how to do that. That's certainly something that the hardware and the operating system itself will support. We just are not able to provide any support on the back end to help troubleshoot any errors, since the software isn't officially supported by a core.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So I mean, we would. So with that said, we would absolutely encourage our customers who are interested in this to work together. Whether that's in some sort of community forum or a chat room or something like that, to say, hey, we've all got bit seeds. We all want to run enforce BIP 148 on these nodes. Can we help each other do that? And if there's anything that we can do to help facilitate that, we're happy to set up a chat room or a subreddit or something like that where people can come together and work together to get this software working.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna. I'm trying to get a bit seed before the 1st of August, but getting to here to Venezuela is kind of difficult. So that makes it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, running your own full node and verifying your transactions through your own full node is kind of the highest level of security and privacy that you can get as a Bitcoin user. The next best thing would be to use a wallet that is backed by a Bitcoin, a BIP 148 enforced node. So as I mentioned earlier, Ledger recently announced that they're going to offer this option to their customers to basically select a BIP 148 node for their wallet to talk to. And there's also an Electrum server that supports BIP 148 if you trust the server operator to tell you your balances correctly. And that one's run out of Canada by, I believe, one of the either founders or members of one of the Canadian Bitcoin associations. And so there are several options out there now for people who don't want to or can't run their own full node to use a wallet that still will enforce the BIP 148 rules prior and after August 1st.
Well, did you actually answer my second question right there? I was going to ask you because I have a lot of clients that they are not going to buy a hardware wallet. I tell them to do so, but they're just not. So ask you, which wallet do you recommend for me to tell them to switch their coins, to send them their coins to that wallet so they can be completely safe when the August 1st come in?
Yes. So there's 2 points here. One of these is that again, it's important to remember, if neither the economic majority nor the hash power majority supports UASF by August 1st, you should not run that code because you could end up on a minority chain and have your transactions wiped out, and that would be no bueno. With that caveat in mind, probably the easiest wallet for your clients to start using would be the Electrum wallet, and then they would just have to basically configure their Electrum wallet to talk to one of the BIP 148 UASF full nodes that have been put onto the network. Because the way that Electrum works is that you have the light client that runs on your desktop or on your mobile phone, and then it connects to a remote server that's run by either yourself or a third party, and they provide kind of the data from the blockchain to tell you what your current balance is. So there are third parties out there who are running these BIP 148 UASF nodes, and you can point your Electrum wallet to these nodes simply by typing in the IP address of these nodes into the settings of your Electrum wallet. And from that moment forward, your wallet will reject any blocks that are not conformant to BIP 148 once it's activated on August 1st. So that would be probably the easiest way to do it if they don't have a ledger and the ledger software isn't out yet. So it would be premature to get ready specifically for that update. But yeah, I think Electrum's probably the best choice for now, with the instructions to connect the wallet to a BIP148 full node server.
Hey, John, is there any website where you can actually follow the instructions for the wallet setup? Because a lot of new people probably don't understand how to, at least from people who ask me, how to set it up.
Yeah, that is a great question. So I have seen some basically there is no authoritative source that I have seen yet for doing this. I've seen the instructions in different Reddit comments and things on Twitter. The UASF.co website might have some instructions about this as well. But off the top of my head, I don't remember seeing any sort of authoritative guides to doing this. It doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means I haven't seen it. But I would be happy to either share some links if I can find something after the show, or perhaps write up a quick guide myself, if that would be helpful to you guys, and then share it, and then you can share it or translate it, whatever you got to do to get it out to your people.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. Any other questions for John? This is great. I think this panel is asking each other questions. This is a great idea. Any other questions for John?
No, I think that I covered what I wanted to say.
Okay,
right.
Great. Well, Maximo, you still got the floor for your exciting announcement if you want to go ahead with that.
Yeah, well, a couple of weeks ago, we did a Spanish show in Adam's channel. And we were working to build a Bitcoin Spanish channel, because the information that you can find about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in Spanish is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So we wanted to fix that problem. And I'm happy to tell you guys and the audience that the next week we're launching the channel. Create a web page, and we already created the channel. We have logos, and well, then the next week we're going to do our first show. So I'm really excited about it and looking forward to it. And I wanted to do it right here because Adam is the people that encourage us to start in that show. And well, man, thank you. Really, from me and from all the other guys, we cannot be more proud, and thank you really for the help. I really appreciate it.
I am so happy that the pilot episode was on this channel. I am very proud, and the crew that you have assembled, the guys who are on the show, Juan Galt, everyone, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And maybe I'll make a guest appearance and say, pound that like button in Spanish, like I did on the.
No, for sure you will be on the channel, man, for sure.
No, this is just awesome, because there was so much positive feedback to that show. So I'm so glad you're moving along with it. Keep me updated. I will keep everyone here updated. Yeah. Like and Adam, we're 2 days away.
Crazy. It was crazy, really, because you have an English YouTube channel, and the amount of people that reach out after the show was crazy. The amount of people that watch the show and speak Spanish, and they're telling us that they have a huge amount of friends that want to know about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but they weren't technical enough to explain what Bitcoin is to their friends. So that they encourage us to start with this project, and it was all because of the pilot, really. And thank you for that.
Well, this is great news that it was birthed from here. So pound that like button if everyone's looking forward to this new Spanish show, which is coming out real soon. And again, stay tuned to my channel, as I will be promoting them and giving out more information on where to find them. And it's awesome. We're changing the world over here. This is really good, man. Yeah. This is really good stuff. Okay, awesome. Bitcoin, do you have any conclusionary remarks here as we're wrapping up the show?
Well, one thing, congratulations on the new show.
Thank you, man.
But like I said, guys, you know, for all the new people out there, I want to make this solid and clear. Just buy it and hold it. Don't get nervous and don't sell it. A lot of people, I've been through this road so many times. It goes up, someone says something bad about it, it comes down, and it goes right to the moon. Just relax. Just have fun with it. Enjoy it. Learn what wallets to put your funds into, and everything should be okay. You shouldn't have to really worry.
Awesome. That's good advice there. Buy and hold, everyone. Buy and hold. It is that simple. It might not seem exciting like gambling, but it's good for you. It's good for your mental clarity and sanity. All right, John. Any conclusionary remarks? Anything that you forgot to say?
No, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for having me on. Congrats to Maximo on the show, and hope to see you guys on the interwebs out there repping Bitcoin.
Heck yeah, you know it. All right, and Maximo, anything else? I'll let you have the last word if you want it. Anything else going on?
Yeah. I'm gonna send a message for the big blockers. I live in a third world country. And I live in a third world country, and trust me, we're the people who really use Bitcoin because we needed to survive. We don't want to buy coffee with it. We don't need to buy coffee with it. We want it as a store of value. We want it as a way to avoid control and capital exchange from dictatorship and communism countries. So, man, stop funding Bitcoin, get set with, and come on, man, stop doing that. A guy from a third world country is telling you that. A guy who really uses Bitcoin. So thank you, Adam, for the opportunity, and great show, guys.
And that was the best ending to This Week in Bitcoin in the history of this show. So we're going to leave it with that. Thanks to my awesome guest. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, pound that like button, and tune in next week. We do this every Friday. And of course, I do post a new show here every single day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Go Bitcoin, go.